Okay, I'm gonna show you how I make my multi-layer stencils the free way using GIMP, which is a free image manipulation software. It's kind of like Photoshop, pretty powerful for free, and I like it. So let's get started. First of all, you need a photo. My photo I have right here is of my cat. I'm just gonna open with GIMP. It'll take a minute to load up. Okay, and I'm gonna put it at about 45% so we can kind of see it better. So what you're gonna do is first take out the background, all this junk back here, because you don't really want that in your stencil. So you're gonna grab the free select tool and just kind of click around this picture. I'm doing it a little bit quickly. If you're doing this for real, you probably want to get in there and make it a little bit more accurate. But this is just so I'm not doing this all day. Alright, I'll speed this up, and when I finish, I'll come back and talk. Okay, now that we have that selected, you're going to go to Select, Invert, and before we do that, I need to put, so you're going to like right click on the layer and add alpha channel. Okay, so now that we have that selected, we're going to go up here to edit and cut. And that'll just take the background out. And select none. So this is kind of a really rough cutout. Whenever you have more time to do it, make sure you get it more cut out along these edges and lines and stuff. Alright, now that we have this picture, we're going to make some copies of this layer, so just drag this layer down a few times. Say we're going to do like a 4-layer stencil. I usually keep my base layer in case I need to make another copy of it. And then I'll make 4 copies on top of that. Now you're going to figure out whether you want your top layer to be black or white, and sometimes that's just going to depend on the picture. This one, I want the top layer to be black because there isn't a whole lot of black in the picture. It's just dots and stuff. So my very bottom layer is going to be like a fully white outline of my cat. My top picture up here is going to be these black parts. So then we're going to go make sure the top layer is selected, go to colors and threshold, and then you're just going to kind of set it like what feels best to you. A lot of times if you're doing, since we're doing 4 colors in this picture, I don't want to get like all of the black to be black. I'll put a little bit of whiteness in the black so that I can put a gray layer in there later. See, that looks pretty decent. Maybe a little bit. Some of his eyes in there. In general, you do want to get like the darkest parts on this layer. So if this were a person, you would just get like their nostrils and like the outlines of their eyes, maybe some detail in the hair. But this looks pretty good for my cat. So I'm gonna click OK. And then I'm going to use this tool here, the select by color tool, and click on the white. And then I'm gonna go to edit and cut. See. And then you'll end up with this, you know, you just have the black. Select none. Underneath down here, I'll go ahead and make like a layer that's white so we can see how that looks. Now, if this were like a single layer stencil, we would definitely want more of that black in there so we could see what it is. Right now, it's just sort of like a couple of random black patches. All right. Next layer. Go ahead and hide your top layer. And this layer here is going to be our dark gray. So make sure the layer is selected. Go to colors and threshold. And remember all those parts that were not black earlier? I don't want to make it a blacker black. That looks pretty good there, so I'll select OK. And the color select tool and select the white, and then edit and cut. Now, on this layer, if we want to make it look like, if we want to be able to see like what the colors are going to look like on our painting, go ahead and keep the color select tool and select the black on this layer. And then we'll pick like our gray, you know, like a kind of a darker gray. Go to the bucket fill and just fill it in. And if you want to make sure, just click on your paintbrush. Pick a fairly large brush. And you could just go over it really quickly. Make sure all of that layer is gray. Okay. Select none. And we'll look at our two layers on top of each other. It's looking not too bad right now. Hide those. And we'll start on our light gray layer. Now with your light gray, what you're going to want to get in or see these like darker white shadows on him and these things here. These sorts of, not the brightest part, the next to the brightest part. Go to colors, threshold. Oh shit, did I freeze? Okay, no I didn't. Alright. About right there is where I want that. Okay. Then we'll do our color select. click on the white, edit, cut. Alright, select none. Alright, now select the black, and we will pick a lighter gray and fill it in. Get our brush just to make sure we get everything. Okay. That's what that's gonna look like so far. Alright, hide all those layers. Let's do the last layer. This one's the simplest, and I usually do this one last because it's easy. And also, whenever I'm cutting out my stencils, I'll do this one last. So, click on your last layer, go to Colors, Threshold, and move it all the way over to the left. And you'll see you'll have this nice outline that's a little bit janky because I didn't take my time. And push OK. You don't have to delete any of that. And here's our stencil. Alright. Now another thing, in order to get this ready to print out and cut out, whenever you're getting this picture ready to print, this is something that I do to save on ink. You don't have to do this, but it's a thing that totally saves a lot of ink for me. I'll take my color selection tool. I'm going to start like on our white layer, our bottom layer here. And I'll select that, and I'll make a new layer, transparency. Okay, so we have this selection, and on this layer, make sure your colors are, your top color here is black, and I'll go to Edit and Stroke Selection. And I usually put it on 1 pixel because it's just a thin line and you can see the outline and everything. But we'll do like 5 to make it more visible. Leave everything else the same unless you have some specific way you want it to be done, which you can do with these options. And it's just going to outline this. So whenever you print it out, you have this to cut out. Here. So let's go through and do this to these other layers. Let me realign this. Layer 1, outline. Okay. And I'm just going to speed this up here so you can see what it looks like at the end. Okay, now we have all of these layers in outline versions. Okay, so this is what all of your outline layers are going to look like on top of each other. And take them one by one and export. Say stash layer 4. And then sometimes I'll put like the color if I have a color in mind. That's like the black layer. So we'll put black. File type. JPEGs are small files, and it's not really important to maintain a lot of detail because when you'll cut them out, you'll be able to see where you need to cut. So that's fine. Just leave it the way it is. export. All right. Go to my desktop. And here's just the picture of the outlines here. And when you print this out, like these parts right here, you're gonna have to make a bridge to the outside, because if not, you'll end up with just a big black ear. But everything else should cut out fine, and that's how you make these stencils in multiple layers. Okay. Poster eraser is what I use to make my stencils the size that I want them. It's pretty simple. You'll just put your image in that you want, which is this for now. This depends on your image, how you want it to be. I recommend leaving it at 0.2 because that's a good overlap for whenever you're taping the pages together if you have more than one page per image. And if this is the size that you want like your whole image to be, this is how many pages it'll take to print it out. And it'll kind of show you a little preview right there of how that works. Let's say I just want it to be like 8. So it could fit on one page. You go to next and you'll just save the poster. I have it to launch the PDF afterwards because I print it from like Adobe Reader. And that's all you do. Poster eraser is really, really simple, and you can make images in pretty much any size you want. Well, that's my tutorial on how I make my multi-layer stencils. Everything I use is free, and I have links in the description. Bye!